I'm Nintendo.
And I'm Sega. This is Console Wars!
Oh man, I am never eating urinal cakes again. Oh, what are you watching?
Where are they now, video game icons?
Nice, I love that show. Turn it up.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this segment's almost over.
It might seem weird, it might seem like a waste of time, and most people don't understand it, but pretzel art has easily become my calling in life. I tried different things after my last game, McDonald's, Burger King, Mega Stick Salesman, but my passion, what gets me out of bed every day, is my pretzel art. One day I'll be gone, but my pretzel art will be around forever. Or however long pretzels from the grocery store last. Pretzels. Not just for eating now, but for art. And eating. Yum!
Our next story features someone who was once a king of fighters, but these days, Terry Bogard has something else up his sleeves.
So where does a guy go after he's dominated the fighting world? Easy. He looks for something even more challenging, more fulfilling, more satisfying. Punched a man in the face. Well, after years of meditating in the mountains, I realized there's only one thing more gratifying than fighting. Magic. Why? Because magicians do the impossible. They take what you think you know and flip it, like that. What's a more noble calling than that?
Now, what inspired this new vocation?
Everyone has their muse. Mine just happens to be the greatest magician of all time. Chris Angel, the mind freak. He's so genuine and not weird at all. I came across this, the Chris Angel Mind Freak Magic Kit. It opened me up to possibilities I never thought imaginable. Everyone needs a gimmick. He's the mind freak, so I'm the brain blower. 'Cause I blow your brain.
What an interesting name.
Well, it was gonna be mind blower, but that was too close to mind freak. I even got a letter from Chris himself. It's a cease and desist. He signed it. Well, he didn't, but his lawyers did. A lot.
Fascinating. Do you see yourself doing magic as the brain blower, long term?
Absolutely. I plan on blowing brains all over the world. But right now, since I only have the van, I'm pretty much sticking in the New Jersey area.
New Jersey? You thinking what I'm thinking? I cannot wait to see Terry Bogard pull a rabbit out of a hat.
He's not gonna do that. He's doing like mind freak stuff. He'll probably pull like an umbrella out of his nether regions and eat it.
Dude, he's available this afternoon.
Book it.
And done. Man, I can't believe we're gonna see Terry Bogard.
Yeah, I love the first Fatal Fury game.
Oh, it's a great game. For the Sega Genesis.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's better for the Super Nintendo.
What? That's it! Are we doing this?
Is my browser history full of my Shiranui cosplay?
Best Fatal Fury.
Fatal Fury is a fighting game released by SNK for the Neo Geo arcade in 1991. It was the first in the Fatal Fury series and would become the template for the King of Fighters. The game has been ported many times and is even available for the PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One.
The versions we're looking at today are the games for the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, both published by Takara. The games are very similar but have their fair share of differences. Which one's better? Let's find out.
These games look incredibly similar.
You have the characters and character animations which look the same. Levels also look very similar, but if you look closely, you do see lots of small differences. Plus, is that Axel and Blaze from Streets of Rage? In both games.
One thing the levels do in both games is portray the passage of time. Round 1 usually starts in the middle of the day, Round 2, late afternoon, then Round 3, at night. This is done for all the outdoor levels. One level even introduces rain in later rounds. It's a nice way of keeping the backgrounds interesting.
I mean, they look similar, but I still think mine looks better.
When you look at the games side by side, the Super Nintendo game definitely looks more colorful, and overall, the characters on Super Nintendo just look smoother. Just look at the background characters. They have more detail and definition on Super Nintendo. They almost look 8-bit on Sega.
So it's not as polished. At least it's not cropped, like your game.
Once again, the Super Nintendo game is cropped. Enjoy that big black bar line at the top of the screen. I get the nice full picture on Sega.
Yeah, a nice full picture of ugly backgrounds.
What? My backgrounds are so much better. Let's compare the details of each level.
In this level, I've got the name of the publisher in the background. Plus, I have this guy in rollerblades.
Yeah, but Super Nintendo has this huge billboard in the background. Plus, my clouds go to the top of my screen, while yours suddenly stop. And this guy's bouncing a basketball in my game. He just kinda shakes in your game.
Well, on this level, I've got the boss of the game making a cameo. Plus, I have more shirtless men dancing in my game.
Who wants more shirtless dancing dudes?
I thought I heard somebody mention that the... Whoa, nice.
What are you doing here?
No, I was just listening to my surveillance van walking by your window. Open. Carry on. Let's look at this level.
Check out the trees moving in the background. On Super Nintendo, they don't move. And when it rains, on Sega I also have lightning. No lightning on Super Nintendo. Also, the rain's a little weird on Super Nintendo. You can see that the rain is in front of the shadows. Makes sense. But if you look at the characters, it's behind them. So, are they in the rain? On Sega, the rain is clearly in front of the characters and their shadows.
Well, on this level, I have a nice design on the ground. And I have clouds. You don't have those on Sega.
No, but the Ferris wheel in my game moves. Doesn't move on Super Nintendo. And time doesn't progress in the Super Nintendo game. It stays the same all 3 rounds. Background changes for the Sega.
Finally, my best level, beach.
You'll notice the leaves on the trees move on Sega. Not in the Super Nintendo game. Also, when you jump, you see the water expand and contract. Doesn't do that on Super Nintendo.
How is that your best level?
Easy. Babes in Sega.
The Sega game may not be the sharpest, but it has not 1 but 2 bikini babes. The Super Nintendo game has none.
Hey, just keep your babes. How about the fact that the Super Nintendo game has more levels?
The Sega game is missing 2 levels. In fighting games, levels don't really do anything, but it's nice to have more to look at. After all, variety is the spice of life.
It's close, but my game has the edge.
For having smoother looking characters, better use of color, some details missing from the Sega game, and for having 2 extra levels, best graphics go to Super Nintendo!
Our presentations are very different.
Yeah, even our box art.
The Sega box art is very anime in style.
While the Super Nintendo box art is more realistic.
Personal preferences aside, I think we can both agree on one thing. Andy looks weird.
Yeah, the other characters look fine, but for some reason Andy looks terrible. Sorry, Andy.
Now let's move on to the HUD.
We both have life bars, time, and these orb things for victory. The Super Nintendo's better because my game shows the opponent's names. Sega just shows the characters' faces. How do you know who you're fighting?
You get the names before the match, and you don't have names in your versus mode. How do you know who you're fighting? You don't need the names. It's overkill. But your game's like that. Just look at your time limit. You have the word time above it. Would you really not know what that is without the word time there? Sega doesn't have that label nonsense. Also, my life bars are better because they flash when you're near death. They don't do that on Super Nintendo.
Well, there's plenty of other reasons my presentation's better.
When you start your first fight on Super Nintendo, you're shown a menu. You see the fighter and their stage, and once you select your match, you have a little avatar on the map. They even move between the matches. It's pretty cool. On Sega, it's just a map. You don't see the fighter or their stage. You have no idea what's going on. And there's no avatar either.
Oh, you can keep that little avatar. Let's take a look at the intros.
The intro on Sega is short but sweet. Oh yeah, I'm pumped. Now let's look at the Super Nintendo. That's a lot of text. They couldn't add a picture or anything. At least some music would have been nice.
Your intro doesn't even tell the story. Besides, my ending is better than yours.
The Super Nintendo ending, while having lots of text, at least shows you your character. The Sega ending, however, nothing but text.
My ending's still better. Remember how the Super Nintendo adds unnecessary things?
The Super Nintendo has this exclusive line. Geese Howard fell from a high-rise building. He died in the hospital 3 hours later. Why did they add this line? Was Nintendo so against the idea of you killing him?
I don't know. I don't think we should have the good guy kill the bad guy. I mean, we are Nintendo after all.
Yes, if only there was another way to have somebody else kill him.
Ooh, wait a minute. What if he got into a car crash on the way to the hospital?
Ooh, even better, he dies at the hospital, but hours later.
Ooh, right. Have the doctor kill him. Yes, that's much more family friendly.
Yes, it keeps our heroes' hands nice and clean. We've done it again. High five.
Also, when you beat the hardest difficulty on Super Nintendo, you only see the 3 main characters in the credits. On Sega, you see all the characters. You get a nice congratulations too. Plus, my characters defeat Geese with a special move. On Super Nintendo, they just do a lame kick.
The little avatar of the characters is still better than that.
What? Let's talk about something that's really important. The trash talk.
Trash talk, an integral part of fighting games. On Sega, it's pretty straightforward. You win a match, your character trash talks your bloodied up opponent. You lose a match, they trash talk your bloodied up character. It's what you'd expect. On Super Nintendo, they don't quite do that. If you win a match, you trash talk nobody. Where's your opponent? And where's the satisfaction? That's like when you figure out the perfect insult only after the person has left the room.
Ow! Alright, man, I won't loiter here anymore, you know? I'll read the sign next time. Did you have to hit me so hard, though? I really took a pound in there.
That's what she said. I hope you heard that. Make a note. Next time somebody says I really took a pounding, always say that's what she said.
And if that wasn't bad enough, the only time you see anyone bloodied up on Super Nintendo is when you lose a match. Why only show it then? Only when first player loses do you see anyone beat up. This is also true in the versus mode. If player 1 wins, talking to myself. Player 2 wins, look how I beat up player 1. Where's the consistency here?
And now it's time to talk about the big guns, the cutscenes.
Both games show Geese Howard between fights. The Super Nintendo just shows his face and no background. The same small picture of his face after every fight. The Sega game does so much more. First off, the picture of Geese is much bigger, and you can see that he's in his office, because there's actually a background. And the pictures change. He has a friend he talks to, a friend he yells at, and the friend talks back to him. He even has a wardrobe change to match what he's wearing in the fight, and he's still wearing it if you lose the match. On Super Nintendo, he's just wearing the suit the entire time.
Hey, I'd wear a nice suit all the time too.
Yeah, but your cutscenes are lazy. I mean, just look at this one.
Before fighting Geese on Sega, you see your character get taken away by thugs. Cool. What does the Super Nintendo do? Instead of showing your character get taken away, they just stick with the profile pic and have the kidnapping dialogue anyway. On Sega, the picture matches the dialogue. On Super Nintendo, it's like he's having a Fight Club-like talk with himself. People who only played the Super Nintendo game were probably very confused.
And if that doesn't convince you, you know what I got? Babes in Sega.
When you think you've beaten the game, you get a little Babes in Sega action. On Super Nintendo, no babes.
And there's no denying my presentation, it's better.
For having a better intro, better trash talk, better cutscenes, and babes, best presentation goes to Sega Genesis.
We both have the same music.
Yeah, but mine's better. Instrumentation.
The melody really comes out nice and clear on the Super Nintendo.
Well, I think some of my songs are better.
Songs on Sega are faster and have more energy. And my instrumentation can be better too.
Plus, you're also missing songs.
The Sega game has more music during the cutscenes. This one cutscene alone has 3 different songs. On Super Nintendo, it's just one. And the Sega game has music during the ending. The Super Nintendo music doesn't kick until the credits. And I have this exclusive track.
Songs during cutscenes? How often do you hear that? Once? As it so happens, I too have exclusive tracks.
The Super Nintendo has exclusive music from the 2 extra levels.
Those aren't as good as my songs.
Fine, let's talk about the voiceovers.
Listen to Terry when he does this move. Makes sense, because the name of the move is Power Wave. Now listen to it on Sega. What was that? How do you get that from Power Wave?
Okay, the next line I need you to say is Power Wave.
Alright, got it. Flip flap!
Did you hear me? I said Power Wave?
Yeah, I got it! Big Bang Barn Blower!
No. Power Wave.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying! Shimmer Limmer Wazerdoodle!
Alright, you know what? We'll fix it in post.
Not all my voiceovers are bad.
Listen to this move on Sega. He says Hurricane Upper. Now on Super Nintendo, he just grunts.
Yeah, but it sounds so muffled compared to Super Nintendo. Why couldn't they just get a clear voiceover?
Alright, the next line is Hurricane Upper.
Hurricane Upper. Got it. Hurricane Upper!
Why'd you cover your mouth?
Huh? Oh, did I cover my mouth? How did that happen? Let me try again. Hurricane Upper!
Why did you put a mask on?
Huh? Oh, did I put this mask on? Weird.
I hate this guy.
You want me to go again? I could totally do more.
No, you know what? That'll be fine. I want to get fired anyway, so.
There's no denying my game has a slight edge on sound.
With more songs during the matches and more accurate and cleaner voiceovers, best sound goes to Super Nintendo.
The gameplay is pretty similar.
Both games play like typical fighters. You have a punch button, a kick button, and a throw button. And like most fighters, you can input certain controls to pull off a super move.
There's 2 game modes, 1 player and versus. In 1 player, you can only choose Terry, Andy, and Joe. In versus, you can also play as the other fighters.
Now the difference is, my game has something yours doesn't. Bonus rounds.
The Super Nintendo has an exclusive bonus round after every 2 fights. The Sega doesn't have this at all.
It's not so great.
The object of this bonus game is to hit bouncing tires. That's not exactly the most exciting thing. This game is stingy with points too. The only way to get points is if you get a perfect. This is kind of broken too. Watch me miss a tire. Doesn't matter, because you can actually miss a tire and still get a perfect. How does that work?
So it's still a nice distraction from the fighting. Plus, you're just mad that your game doesn't have points.
After you win a match on Super Nintendo, you get points. If you beat the bonus game, you get points. Sega, on the other hand, doesn't have points. Not after a match, and definitely not after a non-existent bonus game.
Who cares? The points are worthless.
Why does this game need points? There's no scoreboard. Points don't give you any more continues. Like you'd need any since you have infinite anyways. Points are completely pointless. You're just wasting your time after each match. The Sega game's like, forget points, let's just go on to the next fight. Look how much more time it takes on Super Nintendo.
As someone who likes high scores, I'll take the points.
Well, my game has something that yours doesn't. 2 lanes. Keeping in line with the arcade, the Sega game has 2 lanes. This means your character can be on a separate plane from your opponent. If you want to hit them, you'll have to go over to their lane. It's pretty cool and totally missing from the Super Nintendo game.
Yeah, but it's also kind of pointless.
2 planes would be cool if you could go there whenever you wanted, for strategy, but only the computer can jump to the other plane. Once they're in a different lane, only then can you cross over.
I mean, I can knock opponents to the other plane.
My game's still more true to the arcade.
You want more true to the arcade? How about more characters?
The Super Nintendo game has the characters Hoa Jai and Billy Kane, just like the arcade. They're not in the Sega game. You can only see them in the background. To fill out the 8-man roster, the Sega game just lets you fight the other 2 main characters. And not only do I fight more characters, you can also play as all of them in the Super Nintendo Versus mode, along with Geese Howard. You can't play these 3 characters on the Sega Versus mode.
Oh, you want to talk about the Versus mode? Let's.
First off, the Sega game has more modes. I have a player versus player, player versus computer, and computer versus computer. The Super Nintendo only has player versus player. Now let's look at the characters. Sure, the Sega game has a smaller roster, but you can still play as all the characters for players 1 or 2. Even Geese is unlockable by holding left on the D-pad when selecting the Versus mode. But let's focus on the Super Nintendo game. Sure, you can play as all the characters, but only for the second player. The Super Nintendo game has a serious roster problem in that player 1 can only be one of the 3 main characters. Only player 2 can play as every character. This is terrible! Why can't player 1 play as all the characters? This really limits what you can do with this game. I mean, how did this happen?
Alright, I'm all done. I just finished the Super Nintendo Versus mode.
What? Wait. You didn't do player 1 also?
No, I mean, I'm gonna do it when I get back from my trip to the Bermuda Triangle.
Bermuda Triangle? Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm gonna go missing like all those other people have. It's 1993. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay, but I still have 2 more characters than you, so my game's more complete.
Not really. I mean, let's look at the actual moves.
For both games, the 3 main characters have the same number of moves. But once you get to the other fighters, the Super Nintendo game is very limited. Take a look at the Duck King. He can do this move on Sega. On Super Nintendo, he can't. On Sega, Richard Meyer could do this move. On Super Nintendo, he can't. This is really weird since he can do it when you fight him in 1-player mode. Also, characters are flat out missing moves. Most characters can't even throw on Super Nintendo. They can on Sega. And it's not just the moves, the Super Nintendo is missing the basics. Michael Max can't jump. He can on Sega. It's not only jumping, crouching is special for some reason too. A bunch of Super Nintendo characters can't crouch. They can on Sega. How are you missing so many special moves, basic moves, and simple mechanics like jumping and crouching?
Oh, I still have so much more work to do. Gotta put in all these special moves, and I still gotta make them do things like jump and crouch. Oh. You know what? I'm gonna go on vacation too. But not someplace weird like the Bermuda Triangle. I'm gonna be nice and safe, visit my cousin David in Texas. I mean, what can happen? He's so religious. Yep, nothing weird's gonna happen to me in Waco in 1993.
I mean, I still think mine's better.
Well, you do have something I don't. Loading time.
The Super Nintendo game has loading between every fight. You see this a lot. Waiting. For every match. Waiting. This waiting plus the points really makes the Super Nintendo game move slow.
Waiting. Keep hearing that Tom Petty song in my head every time I see that. Actually, I think there's a deleted scene with that.
Put it down. We did that last episode.
We did?
We did.
Man, I gotta stop drinking. Anyways, even though I'm missing characters, my gameplay's still better.
For having the 2-lane system from the arcade, being able to play as all the characters in the Versus mode, having more super moves and basic mechanics, and not having any loading time, best gameplay goes to Sega Genesis.
Both games are good, but one is better, and that game is Fatal Fury for the Sega Genesis.
It may not have the best graphics, but it does have some extra details. It has better presentation with a better intro, cutscenes, and post-fight trash talk. It has good music and some voiceovers not in the Super Nintendo game. And it has better gameplay, with the 2-lane system being able to play as all the characters in Versus mode, having more super moves and basic mechanics, and not having any loading time. Super Nintendo games, fine. There's just too much going against it. No 2-lane system, loading, fewer moves, but worst of all, only player 2 can play as every character. Why did they do this? One of the best parts of fighting games is being able to play as all characters, for both players. I can only imagine how many fights there must have been for that second controller back in the day. Being able to play as any character is an essential part of a fighting game. Not being able to do that, the game just feels broken. Best Fatal Fury goes to Sega Genesis.
How are we gonna do the magic show in here? It's a little tight.
I mean, it's still pretty nice out. You think of what I'm thinking?
Let's watch a magic show outside! Whoa! We said the exact same thing at the exact same time! Weird! We did it again! He's here! Rubber baby buggy bumpers?
Who's ready for the brain blower? For my first trick, I will pull a rabbit from this entirely ordinary hat.
Ha! Told you he's gonna pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Behold, a rabbit! Chains! They just keep coming. It's like the handkerchiefs, but more badass. For this next one, I'm going to need a volunteer.
I'll do it.
Now I want you to focus on the deck. Is this your card? No. For my next trick, an uncolored coloring book. But now, still not colored coloring book. The rabbit.
Gotcha, gotcha.
That is the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, not a rabbit. Is this your card?
Nope.
This one?
Nope.
No? Okay, this one?
Nope.
Come on, I magicked you! I magicked you!
The rabbit. That is not a rabbit. That is the Austin Powers soundtrack. I've been looking for that. That's enjoyable. This is your card. No, but it's bent. It's got to be your card. No, I bend your card so I can find it in the deck. It's your card.
You're supposed to be colored. You're supposed to have color in you. That should be red. That should be green.
Where are you, you jerk? This is your card. Where's that rabbit?
I don't think he knows what he's doing. Maybe we can get our money back?
I think I found one that'll work. I'm gonna need a volunteer.
I'll go again. You could relax.
Please, take this candle. Stand over yonder. For my next trick, I'm going to light this candle with only my mind. Why isn't this working? I have an idea. Power wave! Behold, the candle is lit.
Look again. Candle's not on fire.
Ah, come on!
Thanks for checking out our latest video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and check us out on Patreon for earlier releases and bonus content. Thanks to everyone who suggested Fatal Fury. And keep those suggestions coming, we will get to them. Also, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more console wars goodness. Later!
For my next trick, I will guess any number in your head. Do you have your number? Is it 69?
No.
What? You could have picked any number and you didn't go with 69?